Dear grade 8 chemistry students, سلام من الله عليكم جميعا ورحمة منه وبركات. In this video, we are going to explain and discuss a new lesson which is the ionic compound. I hope from you all to keep attention because it is a very interesting and fantastic lesson. At the end of this video, we are going to learn how to define the ionic compounds and to explain the formation of ionic compounds. Recognize that ionic compounds are always neutral. Before watching the video, you should prepare the chemistry worksheet and the pen, please. Refresh our memory by this figure. The difference between cation and anion, both are ions with their differences and their different properties. Let us start. When an atom loses an electron, it becomes a cation. As you see in the figure, the electrons lost by the atom does not stay free, but it is gained by another atom. So here I see that the Na atom loses an electron. These electrons don't stay free, it moves to the fluorine atom. When this later, which is a fluorine atom, gains this electron or electrons, it becomes an anion because it has gained electrons, so it becomes anions. Look at this example, please. Here I have the sodium atom, Na with Z equal 11, so equal to the number of protons 11, so the number of electrons is 11 electrons. And here I have the chlorine atom, Cl17. Here, look at this electron in the sodium atom. What will happen? Oh, it moves into the chlorine atom, so the chlorine atom gains this electron and the sodium atom loses one electron. So what happened here? An electron is transferred from sodium atom to chlorine atom. Na atom loses one electron to become Na plus, which is a cation. Here we have the equation that represents this transformation. Na arrow Na plus, which is a cation, plus one electron, which is the electron that had been lost. Here I have the Na plus, and at the opposite hand, Cl atom gains one electron to become Cl minus with the equation of formation Cl plus 1A minus, an arrow Cl minus, as you see in the figure. A question. What about the opposite charges between cation and anion? What will happen with these charges? Look to the action happening between two near pieces of magnet. Each magnet has its two different poles, as you know. What is the action that will happen between two near pieces of magnet? Let us see. In case 1, here I get two pieces of magnet. We get the similar poles of the two pieces of magnet near to each other. What will happen? Do you know? Think, guys. And here I get the two opposite or the two different poles of the two pieces of magnet near to each other. What will happen? Think, please. Here a repulsion will occur between the similar poles, while between the different poles an attraction will occur. Why? Anyone know? Because the difference between the poles, as you see here, the difference between the poles generates or forms an electric force. What makes this force? That causes the attraction between the two opposite poles. Oh, so I should keep in mind that when I have two opposite poles between the two pieces of magnet, this difference will generate a force. This force is electric force. It will cause attraction between the two opposite poles. What is the benefit from this example? Let us see here. What about the cation and anion? Na plus and Cl minus. Look at the opposite charges. Here I have plus, positively charged ion, which is Na plus, and here I have the negative charge minus. These opposite charges, ions, attract each other by an electrostatic force to form ionic compound. Have you get it? So, the opposite charges between these two ions generate an electrostatic force to form the ionic compound. I hope from all to observe this video carefully to understand more the idea.
The same thing happens with magnesium and oxygen. Why don't you grab a piece of paper and a pencil and draw the resulting ionic compound, magnesium oxide. Please pause the lesson and resume when you are done. Magnesium transfers its two valence electrons to oxygen, forming a magnesium ion and an oxide ion. The resulting ions are electrostatically attracted to one another, forming an ionic bond.
So, after watching the video, I want to ask you if these statements are true or false. The attraction force can happen between cations only. Is it true or false? Surely false, because the two cations have the same charges, not different charges. They are both positive, and this will make a repulsion, not attraction. The attraction force can happen between anions only. Also false, because they have the same charges, negative. So, ionic compounds are made up of cations and anions. Ionic compounds is a compound formed by the attraction happened between ions. Which ions? Cations and anions. Due to what? Due to the electric force generated by their opposite charges. Keep in mind this definition, please. As you see here in the figure, the Na sodium donates an electron. It loses an electron to the chlorine atom. After this donation, there is different charges. The Na becomes positively charged ion, cation, while the chlorine becomes an anion that have negative charge. These opposite charge attract each other, forming the ionic compound or the ionic bond between the sodium and the Cl. For its name is sodium chloride NaCl. So as you see here, a few examples about ionic compounds. One of the most examples that is used daily in our activities in our food is the sodium chloride, which is the salt used in our food or to make our food salty. Na plus, Cl minus, sodium chloride. What else? To clean our teeth by using the sodium ion with the fluoride ion, NaF. Here I have NH4 plus NO3 minus. The nitrate is a fertilizer used for the growth of the plants. It is so essential. Other question. What about the total charge of the ionic compound? Who can tell me? Think, guys, please. Ionic compounds are formed of cations and anions. For example, let us take the CaO. We know that the calcium ion is Ca2 plus, had lost 2 electrons. And here I have the oxide ion O2 minus that have gained 2 electrons to become an anion called O2 minus. What happened after binding between these two ions? If I want to calculate the total charge of them, let us start by calcium. We have 1 calcium ion multiplied by its charge 2 plus. And at the opposite side, we have 1 oxide ion multiplied by its charge 2 minus. So here I have 2 plus 2 minus. The answer is 0. So this ionic compound has a 0 charge. What else? Let us take other ionic compound, Na2S, made up of 2 cations, sodium cations, with 1 sulfide ion. Let us calculate the charge. Here we have 2 Na, so 2, each one has 1 plus charge, 2 multiplied by 1 plus. Plus, we have 1 sulfide ion multiplied by its charge, which is 2 minus. 2 plus 2 minus, the result is 0. I have here 3 cations, 3 potassium cations. Each one has 1 positive charge and 1 nitrogen ion that has a charge 3 minus. To calculate the total charge, I have 3K multiplied by 1 plus 1 and multiplied by 3 minus, 3 plus 3 minus, the result is 0. And finally, with the ionic compound MgF2 that made up of magnesium ions with the fluoride ions, the Mg has 2 plus charge, while each fluoride ion has 1 minus. Let us calculate the charge, starting by magnesium. 1 magnesium multiplied by 2 plus the number of fluoride is 2 multiplied by the charge of each fluoride, which is 1 minus. 2 plus 2 minus, the answer also is 0. So the positive charge, what happened here? The positive charge of the cation balance the negative charge of the anion. So ionic compounds are electrically neutral. They have no charge because the charge of the cation reduces or neglect or balance the charge of the anion. So the positive deletes the negative charge. It becomes 0 charge. So it is electrically neutral. So as a definition for the ionic compounds that you are responsible to save and keep in mind, ionic compounds are neutral compounds made up of cations and anions, which are attracted to each other due to their opposite charges. For the next time, please read the information about the ionic compound, page 21, worksheet 9, and solve question 1, page 22, and memorize it. I hope that you have understood the content of this lesson. تقبل الله أعمالكم. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة من الله وبركاته.